All right, we are live. I'm just going to make sure that we've got everything rocking and rolling on LinkedIn. So I'm going to give everybody just a minute to kind of get tuned in and join us both on YouTube and on our LinkedIn account. So for those of you that are already with us, thank you. Hello, we're so happy to have you. I am with Justin, and we are so excited to be able to talk to you all today about your journey into sales. And so I am going to drop in the chat where I'm joining you from. My name is Kinsley, and I am one of the customer success managers with High Counselor. And I am located in the South Georgia area. And so if you feel comfortable dropping in the chat where you are joining from, feel free to do so. I think it's always fun to see the different areas, time zones, locations that are represented from our viewers. So I just think that's fun. So feel free to drop in the comments where you are joining us from. I've got a little bit of information to cover with you regarding High Counselor before we get to the real reason that I know you all are here. I know it's for Justin, but I did want to share with you all that High Counselor is a career accelerator helping job seekers land their dream job. We've got a 4-ish week training period that covers important topics and concepts that you might face during that interview and job search journey. So we're going to go through a training program that's going to help you with behavioral, HR, technical interviews. Our team is going to optimize your resume, your LinkedIn profile. We have topics on networking, on salary negotiation, all those good things that you need really just to ramp up the job search and interview process. We also support candidates through networking. I'm sure that is something that Justin knows a lot about as well, and how important networking is. So that course specifically, I think, is really great. We've got one-on-one mock interview sessions that you can't get enough practice. So I really love the mock interview sessions. And all of these things, like I said, are really just helping you feel confident and comfortable as you apply for jobs. We've got an automated email networking tool as well as an automated job application tool. So pulling jobs that match the parameters that you set and networking and applying to those on your behalf. And then we also offer internships and real world projects. So if you're looking to upskill or maybe needing some additional experience in sales or in data or in software, we have those things available to you as well. So we're currently offering tracks in software engineering, data science, and sales related roles. And I know that this was a super quick overview, but we've got more information to share with you in our info sessions that we host every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we do have a session this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you're located. But we've got a session tonight. So I'm going to drop the link to sign up for that info session at the end of our webinar today, so that you can get more info. And then just so you all know, our next cohort does start on September 18th. So you've got plenty of time to join one of those info sessions. Take a look at our LinkedIn account, our website, whatever the case may be, to get more information. So again, back to the reason why we're all here, what you all are anxiously awaiting to see and to hear. Justin. So Justin is a senior sales executive at Cummins Incorporated, with over 5 years of experience in capital equipment sales. He graduated from Purdue University in 2018 with a degree in business marketing and a minor in advertising. After graduation, he spent 3 years at Dish Network, where he worked in door-to-door sales and recruitment. In this role, he assembled and led a team of Purdue interns, coaching, mentoring, and guiding them to consistently meet their sales goals. We are so excited to hear from Justin. This is going to be great. Justin, welcome.
Hello, Kinsley. Thank you for having me. I love the energy.
Yeah.
I did see some comments about the echoing. Actually, I think that was my fault because uh, I was unmuted as well. So I think one of us have to mute. If not, there's going to be echoing. So I apologize for that. But thank you, Kinsley, for having me. And I'm really excited to go over my experience that I've had with sales. How did I get into it? A lot of you may be wondering, well, I have a background in this, or I was working in healthcare for 3 years, or I was doing internships within college, and I wasn't really working in sales. So how do I jump into it? How do I get into it? And I understand some of y'all may look at some of these forums or videos, and you might see on Instagram or YouTube and all that. It's like these speakers talk about, oh, you got to get into sales and do this. But something that I want to share is is a pure and just based off experience. And to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was gonna do within college. I wanted to be a dentist, and then I was like, I don't think I want to get into biology, or just some science classes weren't really my thing. And I don't know, I found myself going another route, and it just worked out. And honestly, it was natural how it all happened. So if some of you all feel that way, that's great. That's totally okay. And if you don't have it figured out and you're just getting out of college, but you're like, you know what, I want to get into sales because I have a friend, or I have my brother or sister's working in it, awesome. And I want to kind of give you some flavor of the journey that I took, and that flavor of what sales is about, kind of that spark that starts it. So I'll jump in, and I will go over my journey, and I'll definitely pause for any questions, and please, I would love to see questions or comments, anything like that. And feel free to ask. So a little bit about me is I'm from Indiana originally, the Midwest. So I was working in Indiana since I was young, doing different jobs in high school just to make money. And just always found myself being progress, or have the coolest bike on the block or something. So I was would go door to door and mow lawns, and doing stuff like that throughout high school. And then Indiana's big with farming, so I did that during the summers to help pay for college. And then finally went to Purdue, and I just found myself always networking, right? I was part of a fraternity. I was doing different internships. I was for Riley's Children's Hospital on the exec board, and just always loved being around people, networking, knowing a lot of folks, and just being involved. After Purdue, I went to start my career with Cummins. And if we can go back to the previous slide, I just kind of want to show you all what exactly I sell. So that green thing there, that is a generator, and they all come in different sizes. And these products are not cheap. What I do is I sell the capital equipment. So I'm on the power gen side. So for example, if a hospital goes out of power, right, and you might have someone on the surgery table, well, this generator's, depending on the size and application, backs up the power. So that way you have no failure in your power system or anything like that. So all projects are very different, depends on the specs, but I've been doing this for 5 years now with Cummins. It's been great. And before that, I was actually on the door-to-door side. So I started my sales career truly with the door-to-door selling Dish Network. So we can go to the next slide, please, and I can kind of go over where I started. So like I mentioned, I didn't really know what I wanted to do while I was in college. I was like, well, business is cool, and I like just networking and being involved with the business world. And I was like, okay, let's start there, but I don't really know where I'm going to work, what jobs I'm going to apply to, right? And that's okay. To me at that time, I was pretty stressed. Senior year comes along, and I was like, well, where am I going to work? And so a really good friend of mine that went to Purdue as well, and he's actually from my hometown, he was working this internship doing door-to-door sales. And he came to me, he's like, hey, you want to do a gig for the summer and also periodically through the school year? And I was like, sure. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. I mean, get some hands on. And out and about, get to travel. And I started door to door. So I was selling Dish Network, and I did that for 4 summers. And that's, what I was doing was going door to door, selling Dish Network, and it was tough. A lot of students, and didn't really make it the whole summer. We would start with 20 students on a team and probably end up with 8 or 10 left. So it was definitely tough, but it gave me the foundation I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And honestly, it gave me 2 years worth of schooling of communication working with Dish. So, I think that's what gave me that love for working in sales, was just helping others, talking with others, being a problem solver rather than just, selling something. So kind of here's the pyramid here. Consumer sales, door to door is where I started. Business sales would come in. So for 2 years, I was doing aftermarket sales. And then I got into what I'm doing now for the past 3 years, PG sales, high ticket products. So 200,000 up to multi-million dollars deals. So it's all me. I handle everything from start to finish. And, it takes a lot of hard work. I'm always learning something new. And I think the best sales professionals never stop learning, right? Because as you know, if you know something really well, it's easier to sell, and, you're the pro. So as you see there's an empty box at the top of the pyramid, right? Knowledge and continue to grow within my career. So, here I am with Cummins, but at the top, I always want to have that knowledge. I always want to keep learning, asking questions. I'm not someone that's scared to ask questions if I don't know the answer. Say, for example, a customer comes to me, I will find that answer for them. But that's just, and this is within anything that you do. Always keep having an open mind, grow your knowledge. And, if you want to work in medical sales, or you want to work in, business to business sales, selling software, have that open mind and keep learning, know your stuff, keep on learning. And that's in that empty box there. So doesn't matter where I go, right? I'm always going to keep learning. So we can go on to the next slide, please. So, enough about me. Like I said, door to door, business to business now, and, just always learning and just selling to my customers and hunting. So let's focus on you now. And this is why you all are here, is because we want to focus on you, and High Counselor's here to help you and provide the tools that you need. And I'm hoping all of you, each of you, leave this with something in your back pocket that you can utilize, right? And continue to go on your search, or find something. Hey, I really liked what he said, or what Kinsley said, and this is going to help me out. So many of you may have the question, what does it take to be in sales, right? Do I need experience of some sort to even start? I have an engineering degree, and I just graduated from, someone might be like, well, I have an engineering degree and I just graduated from Northwestern. But I think I want to get into sales. Or my background is marketing, education, English, biology, and that's okay. That's totally fine, because I have colleagues and friends that I did Dish Network with, and this is an example, I think a really good example to use is, they were engineering majors, but some of those folks were the best on the doors, and now they have an engineering degree, but they're working in sales right now. And one of them is doing medical sales, and he has an engineering degree. But that engineering degree helped him with what he's selling now, and they like that, because he could talk to people, but he had such a technical background in education that now he's dangerous, right? So it doesn't matter what degree you have, but I kind of want to get into the specifics of, what's it actually take to be in sales, right? And that's maybe a question a lot of you may have. Discipline is the biggest one, because, discipline is something that's over motivation, right? You got to be disciplined. For me, start my day early. I'm checking emails, following up with my customers from the day before, working on issues within my current workspace and with my customers, and calling on customers, closing deals. And after that, it's, I get into my what else I need to do to complete the day. That's working out, or going to the gym, a jog, right? reading books. So discipline is huge, especially when you work in sales, because it's setting up your agenda, setting up your table, right? To go through the day and be successful. Everyone knows honesty is important, right? When you're working with customers, or you just think of it as talking to your friends or family, right? Or your relationship, significant other, right? Honesty is huge. Honesty is really big in sales. No one wants to work with someone that's, lies or beats around the bush. And that's being upfront with working in sales. Dependable. You gotta be dependable, right? For example, I have customers I work with. They have competitors that could sell the same thing I can. It's cheaper, or they can get it for a lot less than what I sell my product, but they like me because I'm dependable, right? I'm always there. I answer the phone. They have an issue, I'm there. And that's huge, especially working with someone, right, that you're buying something from. Being coachable. And I say this because, you may start within a company within right now or in the next year, and some of you may be in the process of getting a job offer, right? Being coachable is one of the best things it's one of the best traits to have. And I'll tell you why, because it's good to be confident 100%. It's good to be, to have that drive, right? 100%. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to be coachable, because you want to be someone that can ask the questions. If you don't know something, you can reach out to advice to, your manager or someone, right? I'm coachable, right? And I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm always wanting to learn something within my industry. I connect with my manager. We go over and discuss issues and stuff like that. So those are examples, right, of how to be coachable. Just think of it as working in sales. It's like being an athlete, having an athlete mentality, because you're working for yourself, but you control your schedule, you control what you're going to do. But being coachable, you got your mentor, someone that, okay, I'm having these issues. What do you think we should do, right? Or how should we go about this? Building relationships, that's huge. Building relationships is probably one of the also most important traits to have, is working with others, right? You want to create that connection with someone. So, for example, some of you may be like, well, I've been someone that's, introvert, right? And that's okay. But, being able to have that connection and building those relationships is really important. And you may find over time working on that, right, to start building those relationships. And when you're out next time, when some of you are out with your friends or family or significant other, or just around other people, take a moment to stop and be like, all right, let me kind of test, like, I'm at this party or I'm at this cookout. Let me go up to someone that I see and make that conversation, talk about something, right? And I guarantee you, a lot of you will notice that you're doing this, or a lot of you will do this without even noticing that you're doing it, right? Like just connecting with people. And that's what building relationships is about, just being able to connect with someone, right? And that's something that I just found that was just always easy for me to do. It's just building those relationships, right? Like if I'm out somewhere, or if I'm meeting with a customer I've never met with before, I'm building that relationship. I'm introducing myself, but I'm also talking and learning about them, right? I'm turning it over to them and learning about their family, their kids, what they like to do, because no one wants a salesperson, right? Or someone that comes up to them that's trying to sell them something or working on something with them, right? And all they talk about is work, this and that, they like someone that they can connect with. Oh, you like baseball too? Or, oh, you get into cars, right? I'm a big car guy. So that's like something that I have a lot of connection with my customers with, or, even with my friends. It's just the love of cars, sports cars, and going to car shows. So that's something, like an example that I can find myself connecting with someone else with, if it's a customer or just making friends. And then sales, that's a little bit broad there, but, understand sales, what you want to work in, right? What industry you may want to go into. Hunter mentality, this is important, because if you're working in sales, you've got to have that hunter mentality, right? When I was working on the doors, I just had to have that drive. I'd probably knock on 10 doors, right? There were a bunch of no's, or we got to think about it, or not interested. slam the door in your face, right? But it's that drive and that hunter mentality that's getting me moving on to the next door, and then boom, I get a sale, right? So that's huge on, and especially working in sales. It doesn't really matter what sales industry or field you work in. It's having the ability to think, okay, on to the next one, on to the next one. I close this deal, on to the next one, or this person said no, or they're like not interested, but on to the next one. It's not going to stop you. And that's where that athlete mentality comes into, right? Think about it as being an athlete. Hey, big game today. Or, hey, I want to score these many points. When I was in door-to-door sales, that was huge because I was like competing with my colleagues, right? Like, all right, this guy just got 8 sales today. Well, I want to get 8, 9, 10 sales tomorrow, right? And beat them. So that's really crucial there. Make mistakes. Don't be scared to make mistakes, especially working in sales, right? You may do 100 things wrong, but learning from that and doing that next set of things correctly is what matters, right? Understanding, what mistakes you made and how you're going to counter and build off that. Being competitive. This is another big one that kind of goes back to what I was telling you all with some of my colleagues, is being that competitive in a good way and positive ways. Like, oh, hey, this is the guy or someone that, in my office during door to door, there was this Sawyer Kiefer who was my really good friend of mine, but him and I would just go back and forth every day. He'd beat me by 1 sale or 2 sales. The next day I'd beat him by 1 or 2. And it was just so fun. Like it was really fun to do. And it just makes you look forward to something and just have that energy and drive to want to beat someone, right? Think big and beyond. So, keep an open mind, learn the product you're selling, or learn the industry or demographic you're selling to. Ask questions. And urgency, right? Urgency is that, hey, let's get this done now. You're talking with a customer or someone, you're building that urgency, that, important, why I'm here, right? Let's do this. Here's what you're going to get out of it. And then last, the passion for winning. In sales, you want to have a passion for winning. One of the biggest rewards that I like is that I love that feeling of when I can accomplish something and knowing that I worked so hard on it, months, years. I mean, I have deals right now where I'm still chasing something. It's been a year now and customer still hasn't closed on it. I still haven't, closed the deal or anything like that. And, it's frustrating, but I know at the end of the day, like when I do close it, or just like all my other deals, that feeling of, man, it really took a while, but we got it done. Feels great. On to the next one, right? Never, content, but, keep going. And that's how I feel when I'm in. So that's an example for, that passion for winning. It's like, all right, we got this one, right? It's like a football team, they win that big game, but hey, we don't stop here. We're not content. On to the next one. Let's be better than we were yesterday. So honestly, this is what I feel and what comes to mind when, what does it take to be in sales, right? So, take note, jot some that may stick out to you. Maybe it's some of you on here are competitive. And you're like, well, heck, I'm competitive and I want to work on a sales job or sales career path that's going to make me competitive or, hey, all my friends tell me I'm honest, right? Or dependable. My friend has an issue, I'm there, my family member or someone, right? I can definitely see myself working in sales. So like I said, you may not have the background. That's totally fine. And even if someone tells you like, oh, well, you need to have this to actually work, don't listen to them. Trust me. I've heard that. I've had colleagues that had engineering or, biology, and they blew right past that. So hopefully you can take something from that. We'll go to the next slide and then we can pause for any questions. I'd love to hear your questions and what any of you may have come to mind. So I want to dig after this. We'll pause. I think this is that flavor of where to start. And I kind of want to give you all some, good vision of, okay, here's your guidance to start, right? So, if you've graduated or you're in college right now, I would definitely look into something that's entry level sales role. And if you can get something that's, where that's above entry level, when you find something that, hey, actually, it's not entry level, but I like it and I can see myself doing it. Don't be scared, do it, apply for it, right? Or if you have connections or networking, definitely use that to your advantage, right? So look for entry level sales roles that will let you get your hands dirty and give you hands-on experience. And what I mean by that is, you're not sitting at a desk all day or behind a counter and just, answering the phone, hanging up. Something that you can get hands-on, right? So let's go take a step back and go back to that door-to-door, right? Door-to-door is pretty. It was big when I was in college, but no one really knew about it. For us, we got into it before it blew up. Now solar's taken off in the door-to-door industry, and there's a lot of solar teams in Texas, Arizona, California that are doing this. And it's crazy because like when I was in college, no one really, for us, it was big because we liked it and we loved the money that we were making in college, but no one really wanted to do it. But now a lot of individuals want to get into it, which is awesome. But that's an example. I'm saying, something that where you can interact in person, you get that hands-on, and you're getting no's to your face, or you're overcoming objections and learning how to really dive deep into what it is to like close someone or interact. And I would say communication is huge. It's number one, probably the biggest thing to have and to gain when you're working in a sales role, right? Next, find a mentor, someone who has been working in sales a long time. Ask questions, surround yourself with them, right? This is huge. Like I said, this will help you. And nowadays, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit more, not complicated, but you definitely, it takes you to, it's a little bit easier to find something, a job or sales entry level, when you're working with a mentor or someone who has been, in the industry, a sales industry, or whatever the case may be, right? For a long time, and working with them and asking them questions, because think about their experience they have, right? And they may have connections that say, oh, hey, actually, I have a colleague that needs someone who needs a good sales rep, or someone that's willing to work in sales, let me get a hold of them. You'll be surprised. Having those connections and making those relationships is going to take you a long way. And that can be on LinkedIn and within your own university, or if you're working somewhere right now, say you're working somewhere and you're meeting with customers or at this facility, and you're meeting with them and learning about them and what they do. That can definitely be something that you can build off of and use to your advantage. It's just, so for that, find someone that maybe that is doing what you want to do, and talk with them, and you'd be surprised of the contacts or connections that they can have. And then this next one, do not let others tell you that you cannot work in sales because you don't have a sales background. Some of the best sales reps that I made friends with or connections with never had a sales background, right? So they didn't, they didn't go to school for business or anything like that. They had an engineering degree or something that was totally not even related to working in sales. So definitely don't let that bother you or, get into your mind. So definitely be social. My next one is, here's my next guidance is be social, learn to talk in front of others or have good conversations, right? You have to learn how to connect with someone. And like I said, many of you may do this and you don't even realize it, right? Many of you may be out at the bar or, grabbing a drink or coffee with someone. You're like talking with someone you just met or a friend. And that's a good example of what I'm talking about, is having a good conversation. If you're someone that's like, well, hey, I'm someone that can make friends with someone easy or start a conversation with a stranger, great. That's definitely a good direction to be in. And that's a good example of what I'm actually, explaining here. Get yourself into a routine of positive addictions, such as reading books, working out. That can be volunteering, become part of a club, hobby. Maybe your favorite thing is to go shoot hoops at the gym with a bunch of other people that are there to shoot hoops, or, do a 5-on-5 basketball or whatever the case may be, right? That's something that's great, right? It brings you peace of mind, or it's, after a long day, you go and do that. That's an example of what I'm talking about is positive addiction, right? Just, you may have a favorite book you want to read and you're going to pick something off of it and learn. Next, know or learn what kind of sales you think you might like. And this is something good to think about, right? Because like I said, I just naturally was finding myself always networking with people in college. And, when I was in high school, like I said, I was going door to door, mowing people's lawns and asking them, hey, you want your lawn mowed, right? To make cash or make money for, when I was in high school, or, make an allowance. So that was something I just found myself doing. Then I was like, well, now I'm in college. I don't really know what I want to do, but hey, you know what? I like talking with people, and I really like, to travel and seeing different places. So I do want to do, I'll give door-to-door stab, right? And I found out I liked talking with people and helping them out and being a solution provider, right? And that's what got me into working in sales. But I wanted to do outside sales, right? Which is outside sales in general is just, you're not working at a desk every day calling and dialing. I'm out and about seeing customers, taking them to lunch. If they have an issue with something I just sold them or a question, I'm there, right? And that's what I love to do. I love seeing different customers every day, or, whatever my schedule allows, and doing that. But definitely know what kind of sales you think you might like. So that might be interacting with people face to face and seeing someone, or that actually might be where, hey, you know what? You have your agenda, you have your call list, or, you might want to work in insurance sales at first, or doing something where, hey, I want to call on individuals or potential buyers that were interested in getting an insurance quote, and that's just an example, right? So you're going to be calling and dialing, and that may be something you like, right? Where you want to be good on the phone. I've done both inside and outside, and they're both tough in their own way, but it was cool because it gave me that ammunition, right, of understanding, and so that way I can put that in my back pocket and use it. So that's just a definitely good guidance. Take note. We can leave this on there, and I'll be free now to answer any questions. Then we can move forward. So let's see. Next one. You want to go over those, Justin, go ahead.
Justin, thank you so much for that insight and for sharing a little bit about your journey. I loved hearing that, and I think it's really inspiring. And one of the things that we see at High Counselor are people that are interested in transitioning into sales and facing some of the struggles that you mentioned, right? Of maybe hearing, well, if you don't have a sales background, then you're not going to be successful, or if you don't have an X number of years of experience, you can't break into that role. And so just hearing from you and hearing that advice, I think is really special and helpful for our viewers. We do have one question, and this viewer is asking, what is some of the relevant information that it might be beneficial to know about a client in order to help close a deal?
Absolutely. So that's a good question, really good question. And that's something that's probably 95 to 99% what you need to be successful and get the deal closed, or to understand why the customer maybe didn't buy from you or why they did, right? So, with my customers, I always just find myself asking a lot of questions, right? So depending on what the industry is, I think the very first thing you need to do is just have that. You need a level with the customer, right? You need to first off be comfortable, make sure that the customer knows that you're comfortable with them, and then you need to make sure that the customer is comfortable with you, right? So that goes back to building that rapport, right? What I was talking about before. So I don't like just talking about work with my customers. I talk about their kids, their family. I talk about what they like to do. I grab lunch with them. Then they're like, this guy's not just a sales rep. This guy, we like him coming around. He's cool. He's great to talk to. We talk about things we like and stuff like that. So it builds that rapport, right? It builds that I'm not just a robot. I'm a person too. I'm just providing you something to help you be successful. So you need to have that first, right? And then second, you need to make sure that what you're selling the customer knows that what you're selling is going to help them be successful. So once you have those two things and you're laid out with the customer, then you have that relationship where the customer is honest with you. Hey, you came in a little bit higher than so-and-so, than this competitor. You think maybe, Justin, you think maybe that you can match this, come down a couple grand and we can close this? Well, then I get back. I'm like, let me take a look. I think we can get there. Give me some time. Let me take a look at this, right? But that's what I love. I love when customers do that because I know they're comfortable with me and I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm building that relationship where they like buying from you because, one, they like my product, but they like me, which is huge. So you got to have that, but you need to understand, what your client's trying to accomplish, right? So that's the next thing. Now we're getting into what the client needs. What are they trying to accomplish? What's their budget like? Like in my industry, I always try to get to know, okay, is this something that's going to be tight on budget? Because then I know they're going to be asking my competitors, right? And they're going to be maybe shopping my price, but I'm going to have to sharpen my pencil. When is this looking to happen? When's this looking to get closed? So if I provided a customer a quote today, and I actually found out that this deal probably is not going to get awarded or closed until December of 23, well, then I have a couple months from now until December to follow up and, to touch base with the customer, right? But I understand that, their goal is December. So the more information, the better, right? Understand what your customer wants. Maybe what was the relationship with your company in the past? Are they pretty hot or cold with your company, right? Or maybe there's someone that just loves to buy your product or from your company that you're representing. I mean, it's everything from, personal level to understanding their needs. How are you going to help them? Because the best sales representatives, the best sales professionals are detectives. And what I mean by that is they ask questions, right? When I was doing door to door, I was asking questions, right? I was asking what channels you have to have. I wasn't going to go tell them all these technical things about the product that makes it great because they're just going to get turned off and they're just going to be like, okay, whoa, I'm so confused right now. No, they want to know their hot, you got to understand their hot buttons, which is going to be understood by asking the right questions. To them, they may only want to know, hey, I want these channels, or I want to have updated technology. Great. I kept it simple, providing that. So the more information, the better. But you need to understand your customer, build that rapport first, ask the questions, and understand what is it they specifically need. So you tailor to their needs. And that is exactly how you can, find yourself being successful, getting the deal closed or, selling that product to them. Tailor to their needs, right? You're there to help fit their needs. And then, ask the right questions. So that's a really good question. And I'm sorry if it's a little bit of a loaded question, but there's a lot of key components to it where first, like I said, understanding, and then who the customer is, getting to know them personal level, and then asking as many questions as possible. That way you can tailor their needs. Any other questions or in the chat?
I love that answer. That's and love that question. It is so important I think sometimes we forget that there's a human on the other side of it, and just building those connections, remembering the human aspect of it is very important. Let's see. It looks like we've got a comment. So my experience has been in the medical field. I have been a traveler for over 10 years in a cardiac cath lab. I have no experience in sales. I have worked closely with sales reps and physicians. Let's see. She's always had an interest in becoming a sales rep. Do you have any advice? So this sounds like maybe a previous specialized experience that could potentially be very valuable in a sales role.
Great. So Lisa, awesome question. Jose, I'll jump to you right after. I'm really happy you shared this because this, when I was reading, I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. You obviously have the power and experience, right, of what products and you're working with and, who you're around. What sales, what sales reps I would recommend as far as, that's positions, definitely working in the outside. You're already out in the field, right? Working with hearts and stents. So you're working with those within that industry, but you also, you know what products you're working with. So you have the experience, and which is probably key to working and working sales and selling a product, right? So the more knowledge, the better. It makes you dangerous. You understand everything you're doing. You've been in the field, which you're probably going to you have more of an advantage there, right? So I would say definitely you're already in the field. Get yourself into an outside sales role. You have that experience, and don't just because you don't have the sales experience of working, selling something, or going through the sales process, that will come. The relationships is what's going to be the importance, right? And like I said, if you kind of go back to what I was explaining previously about the traits to have, right? So the discipline, the athlete mentality, or just that, being organized and communication with others, you're going to find yourself dangerous once you get into that sales role. You have the experience. So that's the positive you need to look at. Don't be discouraged by, I don't have sales experience. The industry, the power generation industry I've been working in the past 5 years, I didn't have no knowledge of it. I had the sales background, right? Working door to door and going up to individuals randomly. I had that communication and relationship building, but I had no knowledge about generators. I couldn't even tell you what any of that. I knew what a generator was in a sense, but I didn't have the specifics, right? But I got into it and I learned. But while I was learning, I was building relationships with customers because that's what I knew to do. And I took the time to learn. And now it's like, I look back and I'm like, how the heck did I learn all this, over the past 5 years? So think of it that way, but the opposite, right? You have this experience that makes you dangerous and working within this industry. Now you just got to learn how to just communicate and just have that conversation, right? And any employer or hiring manager will see, that's something you really got to brag about, and don't be afraid to brag about it. And if someone ever asks you that question, I'll be like, well, I have the knowledge. I'm a figure of authority, right? I have the knowledge of working in this industry, and I've been doing this for the past 10 years in the field. So I'm actually, in a way, I am selling. If everyone thinks about it, you actually are, when you go talk to a hiring manager in an interview, you're selling yourself. You're telling them why you want the job, and here's what you've done. So you're selling them already, so your twist, Lisa, is, hey, I've got this experience. I've been doing this the past 10 years, and no one knows as much as, no one has that knowledge like I do, right? And brag about it. But your thing is, hey, I haven't specifically been working in sales, but I've talked to doctors, talked to, the people in the emergency room, right? Or whoever the case may be, physicians, and every day I'm selling them. So that's your spin on that, is you have to have that communication anyway. Now you actually were like, I want to work in sales. I've seen what my success has been in the medical field, working hands-on. I want to take that to working in sales. I know that I could be dangerous, and I know what I can bring. So great question. Definitely go get it. You got the experience, which is number one. And next question. So next statement here from Jose, I like that. And, in order to be successful in sales, you need to learn your product very well. 100%. I agree with you there. And that's something that, like I mentioned, I didn't know the product I was selling truly, but I learned as time went on. I asked questions. I got with my manager. I did trainings. I went to our factory, took the time, and that helped me be successful, right? I have counterparts that have been doing what I do for 20 plus years now. And the knowledge they have is amazing, right? And they work in sales just like I do, but they know the product so well that when there's, their customers are asking them these hard questions and all that, and they can answer it easy because they've been doing it for so long. They've seen everything and anything there is about what they're doing. So don't get discouraged if you don't know the industry truly that you're getting into. Like I said, I didn't know the industry I was getting into, but I took the time to learn. As long as you do that, you'll be successful in what you're trying to accomplish. So don't feel discouraged, right? It's understanding. And then you can read off the next one, Kinsley, there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Denise was just telling us that she had had a meeting today with an organization And she spent the majority of the time just asking questions about how she could help, and that it was a really great opportunity for her to shine and to be able to really dig into what that customer needed. And so I think that's important too, right? Is having an opportunity to where others maybe aren't as interested or care as much about getting to the bottom of what a customer needs and what their feedback is. And then being able to showcase that absolutely allows for you to shine bright.
Exactly. And Denise, what you did there was, you're the face of what the company you're representing, right? So you took charge of that and gave them knowledge and the benefits, right, that they may have not known. So any successful salesperson, sales professional will do that, right? They take on those measures to hey, here's the benefits. Or if they don't know the answer, they go ask it, right? That's very wonderful, and that's really nice to share with everyone. Feel free to keep asking questions. We can move on, and then as questions come in, we can, like I said, I can pause and answer. This time is for you all, and making sure that I cover whatever it is that you all want to know. So continued here. This is a little bit that I wanted to share that's from the guidance to start, right? So find a sales role. So this is continued. Find a sales role where you get to be competitive and get to push yourself, right? So find something where, in sales, you're always going to have losses. In fact, you may have more losses than you do wins, right? But that's just how it is sometimes. And, find yourself where you get to be better than you were yesterday, or you didn't make any sales yesterday, but today you turn it around, it's like boom. I brought in my first day on the doors, I had no sales the first day, and I was a little bit nervous because I was like, I didn't want to be one of those students that would just like go home, right? Or like didn't produce in a week or so, and it's like, you should probably pack your bags. Second day I sold 3, next day was probably 3, and then I just kept hitting them out. So find somewhere you get to be competitive and just, get that drive to be better than you were the day before. And like I said, what I will do is later on, I will go over examples and my recommendations of what jobs to look for or companies. But like I said earlier, sales isn't easy, right? But it takes all those traits I gave earlier to push and to be successful. And remember, some of the best sales professionals start off doing something very hard and unique. Through doing that, they learned how to communicate with others, learn to lose, and keep going. So I want to touch base on that is, some of the best reps that I know, or professionals that are working in sales now, they started off doing something that was hard. I started doing door to door, which is so hard because people just want to close the door on you, and you only got a certain window to make an impact and get their attention where they're like, okay, I'll listen to you, right? So that was hard for me. But through doing that, I learned how to listen to people, one. Number two, ask questions and this is all stuff I use today in my role, ask the right questions. So that way I know what to sell the customer and what the customer doesn't like or what they do like. And it helps me a lot. So, just remember that, it's not going to be easy, but, you hang around long enough, you'll see results for sure. But just learn. I would say communication is the biggest thing. Like I said, door-to-door sales gave me 2 years worth of, if you didn't go to college and you did door-to-door sales, it gives you 2 years worth of communication that you would learn in college, right? So kind of something I always was amazed by is, Mark Cuban started off doing door-to-door sales. He was selling garbage bags at 12 years old in his neighborhood. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why Mark Cuban obviously became a millionaire and all that, but, he started off doing something hard that, when everyone else was playing around, and even in college, he was doing, door-to-door or other sales gigs, right? But it helped because at such a young age, or doesn't matter what age, but for him to communicate, how to just talk with people, how to interact and become a person, right? Like not just like a robot or someone, right? It's just like a true person where, you know, they listen, they relate, they understand you. Jordan Belfort was selling candy bars and ice cream on the beach in Long Island to make money. So, you know, while everyone was on the beach partying, right, they were getting hungry. So he took advantage of that and saw an opportunity. Well, I'm going to go sell candy bars, and hopefully, maybe, you know, someone probably accidentally slipped them a 20 rather than you know, the $10 or something, you know, because they were partying on the beach. But the point is, you know, they didn't start off doing something where boom, you know, they were just working doing sales, but they start off doing something where they're interacting with people and that communication, right? Understanding the you need something, so I'm going to sell you something, or you are in the market for something, and I'm going to provide you something that, you know, you're looking for in the market, or you have an issue, but I'm going to provide you a solution. So everyone starts somewhere. You just have to jump in. So that's the best advice that I can just say is just jump in, right? You see a role that you're interested in, find someone that maybe works in it, or you know someone in sales that's been doing it a long time or is working for a company. Ask them. That's your mentor, right? Or ask them and connect with them and see, hey, well, is there any positions you know of that I can get into? Or like I said, you know, you have those tools and you can get into something entry level, or, you know, like my brother, my younger brother was working at Lowe's, and this is just an example, but he was working in appliances, selling refrigerators, dryers, all those sorts of things. But I think what benefited him was, and he also did door to door, but what benefited him was he was actually in a market where he was working with people wanting to get appliances for their house and all that. But he was just, I think what gave him the most arsenal for his back pocket was he was understanding what, you know, people coming in, oh, I need something for this budget, right? Or in this budget range, or can you help me find something I don't really know too much about? So he had to learn the knowledge and apply his knowledge and help them find the right washer or dryer that they were looking for. So that's just an example, but you know, you start somewhere. You have to start somewhere in order to figure out what you want to do next, right? And we can jump to the next one. So here's my recommendations, right? So I mentioned books. My VP of Cummins gave me that book that I loved, and it was The Heart of Leadership. And the nice thing about that book was that it wasn't about, in the book, it was about this guy that his dad was a huge time businessman. And long story short, you know, he had all these people that worked with him and in different industries and different companies, but each of them loved something about the father. So I'll let you, if you do decide to read that, I don't want to spoil it, but basically it teaches you the fundamentals of that. Leadership is not just, you know, I'm a leader and I'm leading, right? It's much more than that. It dives so deep, and it was like, I was reading, I was like, that makes total sense. Like, I didn't even think about that, right? That leadership is this, right? Doing this. So read it. It's a great book. I love it. It just gave me such more of a insight of what leadership actually is, rather than just saying, you know, a manager or, you know, or a boss or something like that, right? It's so much more than that. And that's what makes a good leader. And then The Way of the Wolf, I'm a big Jordan Belfort fan, just because of just his unique sales process, right? It's not like something that, it's not by the book. It's just something that worked for him, and he shares it, right? And that's the reason why I like that book, is because he shares what worked for him and what he did. And it's not something by the book, right? Where, you know, one thing I can relate with him on is that some of the people think that working in sales is, hey, I have this phone or whatever, right? And it can do this, this, and this, and this, and this is why you need to buy it, because it can do all this and this and this. Well, maybe they don't want a phone that's like that, right? You got to understand your demographic, right? If you're talking to someone that's a little bit older and they don't like touch screen, they want something that's just, hey, I need to flip it up, answer, hello, goodbye, right? That's just an example of, you know, if you're doing that, sales, That's what a lot of people think sales is, but it's not, right? It's looking at the demographic, who's in the market. Well, how long you've been looking for a phone? What are you going to use? What do you need it for? Is it, you need something just to like, call your family, or you need something to have like the maps pulled up and all that, right? You learn, you ask those questions, and they say, okay, well, I actually got something for you, and this is what I think is going to work for you, right? That's the example. Because if you're just blurring out all that stuff, that's just called fireman's breath or salesman's breath, right? You're just telling a bunch of things that they don't really care about, that they don't need. So here's my other recommendations. Get into door-to-door sales. You learn to communicate and become a champion seller. And some of these companies, like I said, solar is pretty hot right now. It's pretty flooded. I'll be honest with you all. It's pretty, just because a lot of companies now are with these solar, are starting solar companies, and they transferred from door to door, like Dish, being a dealer for Dish or DirecTV. Now they're doing solar sales, right? And they're recruiting. But I would say get into it. And the reason why is because you're going to get that hands-on. You're going to learn how to lose. You're going to learn how to overcome objections, connect with people. So definitely get into that. And I'll even let Kinsley know. Like I said, I have some colleagues and friends that are working in door-to-door sales for solar, and they're always recruiting and wanting to find salespeople that want to come and do great and be successful. And they'll teach you, right? Get into appliance sales at a big store. Kind of goes back to that. I know it's kind of like silly, or some of you be like, oh, I don't want to work, selling washers and dryers. But if you want to get in something where, you could actually talk with someone face to face and direct them to buying something that they want to learn more about and buy, or that they need, get into an appliance store at a big store, Lowe's, Home Depot, Best Buy. Sell solar by doing door to door. I mentioned that. Inside sales by dialing and calling on potential customers. This teaches you how to take rejection and keep going. I did the phone calling, and it's tough because you're not given you're not having that engaged face to face, right? Where it's a lot harder to slam the door, like, tell you to go away, as it is where you can just take the phone and hang up. It's tough, but it'll teach you how to just be dangerous by the fact of, telling the potential customer what they need to know, and having that short window of getting everything out to them and what they need to know, and then closing them, right? So definitely look into that. The Dish Network and DirecTV, it's still doing door to door to this day. I know that. That'll be something good to get into. Car sales, with all the EV and stuff. There's a dealership, a little boutique dealership for Lincoln right now, and they're hiring. And there's an example, like full-time, representative, where someone walks in and they have the iPad, right? And, these customers are going to know what they're looking for and what they want, because it's Lincoln. But, they can go over everything with them, do a demo. And that's what I mean by the hands-on, right? You're doing things where, you can do a demo with them, take them for a test drive, or show them the ins and outs of the car. Car sales is great. It's another tough industry, but it gives you that communication that you need to learn, right? So that's something there. This is all something I wanted to give you, like I said, that flavor, the taste of. I could definitely go into more. I'm hoping everyone on this call can join again, and I can go into even more depth of the sales process. One thing I'd love to leave with you is think about, if you are working in sales now, or doing something that, where you're trying to figure it out, or you see yourself failing and all that. The one thing I can always say is, if someone wants to answer really quick, give me, a couple answers. Why do you think the mailman, when the mailman's going delivering mail, how come no one bothers him? How come no one ever tells him, like, oh, don't come to my house or leave, right? Or think of the meter reader, right? When he's coming to check your meter and all that. And this is something I learned in door to door pretty fast. Well, the reason why is because, no one tells him to, oh, get off my lawn or get out of here, right? Because they're a figure of authority. They're someone that, everyone knows the male person, right? They're a figure of authority. No one's not going to mess with them because they come off as with authority, someone that is doing something that's important. And that is something that when you're working in sales, at least that I found in Dish, is I'm here to do something important. And, you're going to listen, and I'm here to provide that information for you, right? I'm a figure of authority. I'm someone that's coming with something that's going to provide you a service, a product that you need, and it's going to make your life, it's going to help whatever you're trying to do be more successful, right? And that's what I tell my customers now. I'm like, hey, well, I'm providing and generate, right? This obviously needed to help you be more successful. So I appreciate everyone's time. Join us next time to learn how to connect with the customer and sell them. Learn why the best salespeople always succeed during a sale, right? So I'll take you more into that sales process, right? I'd even be more happy to even do like a mock demo or something where someone gives me an objection. How do I overcome, or how to just to connect with someone, right? And what questions to ask, and so bring ideas next time, or what you want to know, and we can go from there.
Justin, thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. We'll stay on for just a few more minutes to take any last minute questions. But I'm going to be putting some links in the chat, so or the comment box, so that you all can have access to a couple different things. I am going to provide you all with a feedback form. Definitely want to be able to share that with you. We want to know what you want to see. We want to know if you've got ideas or suggestions for us. We also want to share with you the info session for tonight. So we've got the link for that. If you are interested in applying to the upcoming cohort that starts on September 18th, we also have that link. We have a link for events that we've got coming up. We've got a virtual job fair on September 28th. And then finally, if you're interested in signing up for our real world live project, you can register for that at the link as well. So sharing all of that in the comments for you. We would really love your feedback. First and foremost, I think both of us would appreciate that, and definitely give Justin some ideas as we plan to invite him back. This has been so helpful, so great, Justin. Really can't thank you enough.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Kinsley. And like I said, this is for all of you, right? So definitely drop things that you want to hear, what you want to talk about. I have colleagues, I have friends that, some of my good friends that I've worked with, and, they'd be more than happy to jump on a call to, or even if someone wants to see a mock, how to connect with someone or sell someone, right? I'd even love to even see if some of you right now are just got into sales and you're seeing something that you're having a hard time with, right? Definitely bring that over, because some other folks may have the same question too, right? Of, oh, I'm facing this, or it's just hard for me to close, and this is what I keep getting rejected on. Bring that, and then we can go over it together. Like I said, this is here to benefit you, and any recommendations or feedback, please provide.
Justin, I have one last question for you. Are you active on LinkedIn? And if so, can we connect with you?
Yes. So everyone, please, it's Justin Leone. You can just put Justin Leone Cummins. It'll be I'm based out of Phoenix, based out of Arizona. So you can see like the Phoenix. Please add me, and, feel free to reach out. And, I really thank High Counselor and Kinsley a lot for providing this. Is something that, I'm really passionate about with doing, helping others. And, I was in your shoes too. So, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but sales was tough in the beginning, and then I just found what worked for me. So for sure, reach out. It's a hot market right now. A lot of sales roles and account manager on LinkedIn. It's opening up, and a lot of individuals didn't really seem to like it back then. But I think, like I said, there's a lot of reward in sales. So don't be scared, and get in it for sure.
Great. Well, thank you again, Justin. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn and on YouTube, so you can see when Justin comes back for that follow-up session. And to just follow us for the other events that we've got going on. Like I mentioned, that job fair opportunity that's coming up as well. Some live projects. So feel free to follow us, and don't forget to share that feedback for Justin and I. We appreciate it so much. Thank you all. I hope you have a great rest of the day as we head into the weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you.